Are you ready?
Gentlemen of the Pro Wrestling Report Special Summer Series, the greatest ever. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero, and here on this broadcast, we're 4 weeks deep now, David. We take a look at the categories and look at who is the greatest ever in each.
Yes.
Now, you do know I am the greatest ever professional wrestling broadcast journalist ever.
And I am the greatest ever opinionist of all time with my doctorate in opinionology.
That's arguable. You still haven't produced that document, by the way. Usually when you get a doctorate, when you get your master's, you get a document.
I did. It was with my trophy, which
Did they email it to you online?
It was emailed to me, yes.
Well, it is an all-new summer series here on PWR where we take a look at the greatest ever in several categories. And for years, the debate has raged on as to who is the greatest ever, and each week we will discuss the candidates in the selected category. And this week's category, coming off of last week's greatest heel ever, is the greatest babyface ever.
Right there.
Wrestling babyfaces who are good guys have more often than not been the breadwinner for the company. They are the one who sells the most merchandise, tickets, and even pay-per-view events.
So that means that Daniel Bryan is not a babyface.
Last week we said it was easy to be a heel, and conversely, it is certainly more difficult to be a face in the wrestling business. Many talents have even said publicly that they prefer to play the role of a heel rather than a babyface. Now, there's a long list of babyfaces that qualify for greatest ever, such as Randy Savage, Sting, Dusty Rhodes, Bob Backlund, Rey Mysterio, Bret the Hitman Hart, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Bruno Sammartino, and even your favorite David Hero, Daniel Bryan. But even with this very impressive list, it really boils down to the four that are at the top of the heap. And this one's going to be a challenge for sure, because those four finalists are Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock. So, with that in mind, let's boil it down and let's count down to the greatest babyface ever, David Hero. Hogan, Austin, The Rock, and John Cena.
So you're going off of the four biggest box office draws as well, for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, we mentioned Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who I honestly think might be the greatest true babyface in all of wrestling.
What makes him a true babyface?
Well, because he always has been a babyface. For 99% of his career, he's always been that good guy, the guy everyone would cheer for. Good looking, great matches, one of the best wrestlers, in-ring technician, performers of all time, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and he definitely deserves to be in the conversation.
Well, he was.
He was, but
he got an honorable.
When it comes to the final four, you got to go with the four we mentioned.
Which are Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, and The Rock, the People's Champion.
And if you think about it, for the most part, all four of these guys have, for lack of a better word, have gone both ways. I mean, they've been good guys and bad guys and good guys. I mean, Austin and Rock have gone back and forth. Hogan, of course, was Hollywood Hogan, and John Cena started his career as a villain.
For a very brief period of time in WWE, yes.
You know, we got to vote one guy off the island first.
Well, somebody's got to go first, David Hero. And again, as I said, this is going to be this could be our most challenging yet to determine who the greatest ever is. And ties are not allowed.
And honest to God, there is no right answer on this one. Because none of these guys...
Does that mean you're going to be wrong?
No, I might be mistaken. I won't be wrong. If you're going to take one guy off first, as far as being the best babyface of the four, and it pains me to say this, but The Rock's best work was as a heel. Right?
By definition, he was a heel. Everything he did pretty much became as popular as it did when he was a heel. That is possibly true.
I mean, Hogan is the be-all, end-all, for the most part. John Cena is the guy right now.
Have you just eliminated The Rock? Is that what happened?
I can't do it. See, here's my theory when you went about talent. When it comes to being my idea, okay, Not saying everyone agrees with me.
So IMO.
In my honest opinion,
IMHO.
yes. When I look at a talent, I'm like, okay, do the guys want to be him, and do the women want to?
So Sable's on this list?
No. And do the women want to sleep with him? Okay.
They've all gotten their share of tail, I'm sure.
They all have. And do the guys want to be John Cena?
I think secretly some do.
I don't know. The women find him attractive. I think John Cena has to go off first.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
The man who has been the center point of WWE for the last 10 years.
I don't think if Hogan, Austin, and Rock are active, that Cena is the top babyface in the
But you know what's interesting is while Cena has been the top guy in WWE for the last 10 years, you look at the other three, each one of them have come back during that 10-year period to bolster the company a little more.
Right.
So
And
there you
let's
go.
face it,
There's your
for
argument.
as much as Cena's been cheered, he's also been booed quite as much.
Well, he's polarizing.
He is
It's the
polarizing.
Official company
Yes.
term, I believe, that they
Yes.
used to describe him. All right, Cena on first. I can't argue with that. That leaves three, ladies and gentlemen. Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Well, not necessarily Hollywood, but Hulk Hogan. The Rock.
Are you surprised I took Cena off first?
Stone Cold Steve Austin. No, you actually explained yourself in a fairly articulate manner for once.
I'm
So
brilliant.
it makes some sense.
Come on. Are you kidding me? But
Yeah, now let's see what you do.
now I got to take that argument and toss it out.
Three different eras,
Because
really.
it's not, no, it's two different eras. It really is. It's the golden era, the Hulkamania era against the Attitude era. Is it my final two? Safe to say?
Is it your final two?
Yeah.
Well, it's your...
Or am I going to eliminate somebody now?
You need to eliminate yet another now.
This pains me to do because he's one of my favorites. The Rock is gone.
Really?
The Rock, yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
But that leaves you with an even more difficult choice, David Hero. And you know what I'm going to do for the first time ever here? It's almost like this is Feedback Friday. I'm going to go to Twitter, and I'm going to ask our fans live here.
Okay.
Between Austin and The Rock. I'm sorry, between Austin and Hogan.
Hulk Hogan and
Who
is the greatest baby face of all time. We're going by babyface.
Babyface, correct.
If you're going just by traditional babyface, there is no bigger, greater babyface than Hulk Hogan. Because he wasn't out there saying whoop ass and some bitch and flipping off the audience. All he did was put his hand to his ear and posed. And it was training, saying your prayers, eating your vitamins.
Well, you know something, Mean Gene, the promos he cut,
93,000 people
the prayers, the vitamins,
in the
blah, blah,
Pontiac
blah.
Silverdome paid to see Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Right?
They paid to go to WrestleMania 3,
They
yes.
paid to see Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant.
Well, I mean, a lot of fans will have you believe it. I used to be that fan that they paid to see Ricky the Dragon Steamboat
No,
versus
they
the Macho
bought a
Man in
ticket to see
97.
Hogan versus Andre. No one has done that since. Austin and Rock haven't sold 93,000.
Well, I mean, they haven't had a venue that fits that many. They've sold out. They've gotten as close as 80,000 in Detroit
And Miami
again.
wasn't sold out.
Miami was completely sold out.
Was it completely sold out?
Every WrestleMania has been completely sold
I
out.
don't know about that.
Yes, it has.
Was New York sold out?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yes.
Well, it wasn't 93,000 people. Listen, Austin and Rock captivated an audience, brought wrestling back. But let's not forget on the other dial was the NWO. And Hogan was cheered as much as he was booed. He was the John Cena of that era. But Hulk Hogan is without a shadow of a doubt the most ultimate babyface of all time. Because he was always the good guy. He never cheated to win. Not saying Austin.
He beat a referee.
I mean, he beat a referee.
Well, WrestleMania 4 leading up to that. We talked about that last time here on this broadcast.
Yeah, but that was because the referees were evil. But look at all the shenanigans.
Whatever happened to Dave Hebner?
He's still around.
Is he?
Yeah.
Still running that shop down in Florida?
He just had a birthday. Him and Earl. They're twins, So, I mean, you can't go wrong with any of these guys. You really can't. But Hulk Hogan, and I'm sure some people say, oh, Hero's crazy. Austin.
Well, you are.
No, I'm not. Hulk Hogan is the epitome of baby faces in the 80s.
Babyface. Let's get back to the definition of babyface. And you talked about Hogan being the definition of babyface. Austin's character was more of a tweener, if you will. Rock's character was more of a tweener, if you will. Cena's character, by fan acceptance, has been more of a tweener, if you will. Mm-hmm. If you look at the fifth guy you talked about, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, he was a clear
He was
face.
a true babyface.
But he came from that same golden era, as you call it.
The problem for every other babyface in the 80s was that they were either second or third to Hogan. Hogan was always number one, and Savage and Warrior and Piper and Steamboat and the British Bulldogs all fought for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
What about the Macho Man, Randy Savage?
I said that. He'd be number 2.
Really? He wasn't one of the final 4.
No, but he always, in the 80s, it's always Hogan, and then everybody else.
So you're saying...
Listen, go back and watch the network. Look at what Hogan did. And he had monster heels to work with. He had Bundy, he had Stud, he had Kamala, he had Andre the Giant, he had the one-man gang.
A couple of users on Twitter chiming in here live on the greatest ever. Just Being an Icon says Ricky Steamboat.
See, there you go.
And then a user by the name of @W_Jones107 says Hogan.
Listen, say what you want
This is the most tricky category.
Say what you want about Hogan staying around longer than he should have. He is the Babe Ruth of pro wrestling. He is an icon, a legend. He can't go anywhere without people recognizing him.
Right.
And he did it at a time when there was when cable first was a boom, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't social media, and he wasn't on TV every week. When Hogan was on Superstars or Challenge,
huge deal.
It was I was talking about this with Al Snow a couple weeks ago. I remember specifically Hulk Hogan versus Rusty Brooks. And you know why I remember that? Because it never happened. He was never wrestling on Challenge or Superstars.
Yeah.
It was always
Sunday
a big
mornings
deal.
at 11 a.m. when Superstars aired here in Milwaukee. It was a huge deal if Hogan were part of the program.
If anything, he was cutting a promo. You know, he was in Piper's Pitch, or he was being interviewed by Gene Oakland. You never saw him wrestle.
Yeah.
So people had to pay to see him.
Sounds like you're saying Hogan. And
Without a shadow of a doubt, Hulk Hogan is the greatest baby face ever in pro wrestling.
Finally, another live tweet here on Twitter @Kevin Ryland says The Rock. So even with our Twitter responses, you got Steamboat, you got Hogan, you got Rock. Fans are all over the place on this. I think that given the definition of baby face,
it has to be Hogan.
Face,
it has to be Hogan.
It has to be Hogan. The eras are different. Austin, Rock in the same era, John Cena in the current era, Hogan in the past era. I think each of them arguably is the greatest ever of their era.
Agreed.
But
there's no question.
Beyond eras, this is of all time, and Hulk Hogan definitely seems to deserve that.
Isn't it funny? The greatest heel last week was Roddy Piper. The greatest baby face is Hulk Hogan.
Greatest manager is Bobby the Brain Heenan.
It's that era.
Hottest diva is Lana.
No, it's Miss Elizabeth.
Did you watch NXT TakeOver? Did you watch Raw this past Monday night?
Yeah, I did.
Last Monday night?
You need to watch SummerSlam again.
Still hotter. I'm not going to have this argument with you again. Lana is the hottest diva ever. But anyways, the era that is being defined.
I learned that Lana's really not Russian.
Why you gotta? What are you gonna talk about the Easter Bunny and Santa? Oh, you already did that.
I did do that, didn't I?
Hulk Hogan, ladies and gentlemen, has just been deemed the greatest babyface ever.
Time.
We definitely appreciate and would like to hear your feedback on that. You can go ahead and hit us up on Twitter @PWR Show on Twitter as we live tweet it with you during this broadcast as well. And coming up next week, David Hero, as greatest ever continues, it is the greatest play-by-play man in the history of the wrestling business.
Oh, my goodness. That'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting, and not as easy as many of you may think it's going to be, because you've got, again, the definition of eras. You know what? Maybe we should do the greatest era ever as the summer continues leading up to building the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling.
Brother, whatever you want to do. You pay the bills. I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Why do I have to be brother?
You know, I don't know. Why did Al Snow say peel the banana peel? I don't get that. I don't get that either.
I think he was having memories of Gorilla Monsoon.
I am happy to see you have entered the competition, by the way.
Well, I haven't entered the competition.
Oh, you're
I'm
in it.
Winning the competition.
You just started. The competition
It
continues.
begins. No,
Bro,
the competition for you continues. For me, it begins. More on that as the weeks go on. This has been the greatest ever, ladies and gentlemen, for that one. This is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you Friday for a brand new edition of Feedback Friday, where our guest is James E. Cornette.
Jim
Should be an
Cornette,
interesting one.
this
Absolutely.
Friday?
On Feedback Friday.
good God.
Almighty. We'll see you then, folks.